Congress, they're changing their tune and they are talking. We need to listen very closely because what they're talking about is changing and it may benefit us in a really good way. I have all the details for you in this video. Let's get into it right now. But if you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe by hitting that button right down below the video. Information continues to change very, very rapidly right now. I'm watching it all very closely. I'm breaking it all down into these short videos so that you can get the latest details hot off the wire each and every day as this information is being released. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and let's jump right into the update. All right, so really quickly, before we get into what Congress has been talking about recently and how they've been changing their tune, let me give you a couple quick updates as far as things that I think you should know as of right now, just to give us a better idea of what is actually going on out there. Also, one quick reminder, tonight is daylight savings time. So if you are in one of the states that actually does practice daylight savings time, make sure to change your clock before you go to bed tonight. So anyway, just want to give you a quick little reminder. I'm pretty sure you've heard about it and you probably know, but anyway, just wanted to do my part, right? So yeah, anyway. So let's quickly talk about a couple other things here. I just came across another report. Now again, I like to tell you this stuff just so that you have a grasp on what is going on around this country as far as everything. Like I've said in so many videos, everything is highly correlated. Everything is so highly intertwined together. You kind of got to watch everything because it's like a big domino train, right? As soon as one domino falls, it could take down the entire train, right? So you got to watch all this stuff very closely. Anyway, this is actually pertaining to foreclosures. Now again, I know that probably many of you here in the community probably don't care all that much, but here's the deal. I want you to know about this because this is kind of an indication as to what's going on in the country as far as how much are people really struggling right now. Well, I don't think I need to tell you. I think all of us in this community are feeling the pinch right now more than ever, and it's not a fun situation. But anyway, as of right now, the latest reading on foreclosures was just released for last month, February. Well, get this. It was up 11% over the previous month and up over 120% from a year ago. Well, according to the analysts and the experts and what they're saying right now, going forward through the rest of 2022, they're anticipating that we're going to see double-digit foreclosures, as in over the previous month, going forward. So they're thinking that we're going to see increased foreclosures basically between now through the rest of 2022. So that's a scary situation. Think about it. People obviously are foreclosing for a reason. Why? Because they don't have money. Or maybe they have the money, but the deal is things have gotten so expensive right now, they're deciding, what should I pay for? Should I pay for food this month or should I pay my mortgage? Well, a lot of times it sounds like, according to the foreclosures that are ticking up right here, they're probably choosing food and things like that because, you know, you got to eat. And so they're probably choosing things like that are maybe more essential at the time and maybe skipping their mortgage payments. It's a sad situation. Not only that, there's a lot of evictions going on right now as well across many of the states, actually the vast majority of the states. I'm not even sure if any states are still doing this as far as the eviction moratorium that was put in place a couple years ago. I think there were still a few holdout states that were still doing those, but for the most part, the eviction moratoriums are gone. And yeah, once again, we're seeing tons of eviction filings as well. Again, the moral of the story is a lot of people losing their housing, and that is a really, really sad situation. Like I said, it's kind of like the ultimatum. A lot of people are looking at their situation saying, what should I pay this month? Should I put food on the table or should I pay the mortgage or the rent? Well, you know, I mean, that's kind of an obvious one right there. I think a lot of us would probably choose food because you kind of got to have that right now. And, you know, anyway, a sad situation all around. Just want to let you know about that. Speaking about food, let's quickly talk about another report here that I just found. Now, I did allude to this. I think it was maybe yesterday, maybe it was the day before. I'm not sure. I did allude to this in one other previous video. But I do want to mention this because this is very important to understand. Because of the entire situation going on the other side of the globe right now, we know the conflict going on between Russia and Ukraine. What's happening is because these two countries export about 1/3 of the total wheat supply in the entire world, like global wheat supply comes out of those two countries. They're actually anticipating that we're going to see essentially grocery items that have any type of wheat in them. So pretty much anything. I mean, breads, cereals, pastas. I mean, wheat is in a lot of stuff. If you ever have a chance, look at the nutrition label on basically any packaging, the ingredients label, and you'll see wheat. It is in a lot of things. Basically anything with carbohydrates pretty much has wheat in it. So my point is, they're anticipating grocery prices, basically anything that contains wheat in it, is probably going to be going up by about 50% at some point. That's the last thing that we want to hear right now, right? Especially during this time when we continue to see prices rising on everything. But again, we don't need to talk about this forever because we've talked about it many, many times in previous videos. But again, just one more thing that is going up in price. So again, it's very frustrating. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. It's just very frustrating to see this. I don't know how anybody can get ahead anymore unless somebody's earning like a really solid 6 figures a year or something like that. It's very, very difficult to get ahead these days. Actually, another report that I talked about the other day is anybody earning under $100,000 right now is essentially living paycheck to paycheck. That's exactly what the report was saying. Even those people that are earning just a flat $100K a year, $100,000 a year, are said to be living paycheck to paycheck right now. Well, the more that you go down the scale from 100 down to 0, the lower that you get on that scale, the harder and harder the struggle gets. But again, I don't think I need to reiterate that here. I think all of us know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so anyway, just a few quick reports that I wanted to run through with you right there, just so you can understand kind of some of the things that are going on out there right now during this time. All right, so let's quickly talk about this attitude change between Congress and what they're talking about recently, and something that I think we certainly need to pay attention to because the tune has certainly changed when it comes to Congress. Here's the deal. Just over the last 2 or 3 days or so, I've seen multiple reports. Tons of reports. I honestly can't even count how many. I mean, obviously I can count, but my point is, I don't really remember. I've seen so many reports like this. 10, 15, 18, maybe 20 of these different reports coming out just in the last 2 or 3 days here. A bunch of reports, whereas previously, I'm going to be honest with you, there were maybe some here and there, but for the most part, there were not too many reports coming out like this. A couple here and there, nowhere near what I've seen in the last couple days here. These reports coming out saying these massive pushes for additional direct payments, otherwise known as stimulus checks for struggling Americans. It's kind of interesting. Literally, in the last 2 days, maybe 3 days at the most, there's been a lot of reports coming out now talking about how Congress needs to step up once again. Inflation is running through the roof. Gas prices are off the charts, hitting new records essentially every single day, which, by the way, the new national average right now is $4.32 to $4.33. I've seen it reported in a couple different places as those two amounts. Either way, it's only a penny off. The point is, it's still a record and is very, very high. So, anyway, the reports are basically coming out saying Congress needs to send out additional direct payments. I've seen multiple reports on this. In fact, just in the last couple of days here, even in that video that I posted just a couple hours ago, I laid out these 2 new plans that were introduced in the last 2 days here, talking about sending out payments as in the form of quarterly checks or these gas vouchers. Remember that video from earlier today? I broke it down in that video, these 2 programs, as well as a couple videos over the last couple of days here. I broke those programs down individually as well. But the point is, when was the last time that we actually heard an official proposal that was introduced by Congress to send out direct checks? I'm going to be honest with you, it's been quite a while. It's been many, many months since we've seen any type of proposal come out of Congress from the lawmakers actually proposing something to send out a direct payment to the people. Well, on Thursday, 2 days ago, we got that report out, and exactly what I talked about in that last video, where Ro Khanna, Sheldon Whitehouse, Bernie Sanders, what's the other one? Sheridan Brown. Sorry, I'm pronouncing that name wrong. I'm trying to think of the right pronunciation. I apologize. Anyway, there's about 7 or 8 people on that bill, and they were coming out asking for this extra tax on large oil producers. Again, I talked about it in that last video. But my point is, in that proposal, they were talking about sending out direct checks, stimulus checks, to the American people on a quarterly basis. The whole point is, the last time that we saw any lawmakers coming out with any type of formal proposal that they were actually introducing and getting co-sponsors on to send out direct payments to the people has been quite a few months. It's been a very long time. So finally, they are starting to transition and they're starting to change their tune on what they're actually trying to sell right now and what they're actually trying to get in front of the American people. as well as what they're bringing to the floor in Congress. They actually just introduced this bill on Thursday to send out direct payments. So my point is, it is a good thing. The attitude in Congress is changing. I know it's taken forever. Who knows where it's going to go, but my point is, we know that there's a couple things going on right now. Let me break this down for you. Number one, we know that the attitude is changing. As of the last couple days here, the last 2 to 3 days or so, the attitude in Congress is changing where they've had a couple different proposals here talking about direct payments to the people. Even though the payments are small and even though they're to be sent out on a quarterly basis, the point is, direct payments, stimulus checks is what they're talking about. That is very important. We've got to listen to the words they're saying, because this is where it all starts, right? They all come out and they say one thing, and then ultimately over time it gets bumped up more, it gets expanded more, and it's just the seed. It's basically like the seed. You put the seed in the ground and it starts to germinate, and over a long period of time, or however long period of time you have, before you know it, you have a huge tree. My point is, that's kind of how these bills work as well. They plant the seed, and then the thing starts to grow and gets a little bit of traction from there. So that's number one. We've seen these proposals coming out of Congress as of recently. That's very, very important to understand, right? So yeah, there's a lot of good things out there, and this is great to understand that Congress is finally maybe moving together on this. And not only that, number two is, we also know this much. They will be passing another reconciliation bill sometime between now and the next few months here before the midterm elections. Well, guess what? What is a reconciliation bill, and what does it allow for? It allows them to add essentially almost anything into the bill. Now, there's a few things that are restricted. They cannot reform Social Security. They cannot reform the SSI Restoration Act, or SSI. There's a few things within there that cannot be done through reconciliation. Again, I could keep going. The list is very long, but the point is, there's a lot of things they can do, including direct checks, including stimulus checks, just like they passed a year ago with the American Rescue Plan, the $1,400 check that we got a year ago. That was a reconciliation bill. They had it in there. It can be done. They can do it. 100% is within the rules with the reconciliation bill. So my point is, we know this much. We know that Congress is changing their tune on stimulus checks, direct payments right here, right now. As in, they're starting to introduce them again. They're starting to become a little bit more accustomed to it, and they're becoming a little bit more comfortable throwing around the ideas of direct payments to the people. We also know about the reconciliation bill, the otherwise known as a stimulus package. We know that that is something that Congress will be doing before the midterm elections. The point is, they could add it in there. They could add a stimulus check. They could add a direct check right into that package, the reconciliation bill, and we'd be good to go. So the point is, it's all up to Congress now. The ball is in their court. There's been a lot of pushes here. I mean, seriously, so many reports that I've seen just in the last couple of days here calling on direct payments, stimulus checks, relief checks, something to help with all of this inflation. Seriously, I see it all the time. Like every single day I can't even tell you how many reports I read today just about this from multiple different sources talking about this. It's encouraging. It's good. It's a good thing to see all these reports coming out because once again, the appetite for checks is there. I mean, it's been around for a very long time, and they're starting to become a little bit more comfortable talking about this. It's good. It's a very good thing. So anyway, we got to see what Congress does here, but these couple things were just introduced in the last couple of days here, and that's a good thing. It's good. We've got to continue watching this and see what Congress does over the coming days. Hopefully not weeks, but over the coming days anyway. Either way, I'll continue watching it closely as I always do. I'll be right back here in these short videos and breaking it all down into the shortest videos possible so you can get the latest details basically every day as this information is being released. So if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss any videos going forward. Also, share this video with your friends, family, social media, or any others here on the channel, and go back and check out any of the other 2,200 videos right here. Enjoy your day. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you again later in the next